Good evening. I'm honored to be here as this year's Survivor speaker. Although I'm not one for public speaking, I'm always one to try to help out where I can, so I agreed to do this. Some of you here are familiar with my story and journey, but for those who aren't, buckle up, because here we go. I turned 40 in June of 2016 with friends and family joking and warning of the big 4-0 with it hitting the fan. I just smile and laugh and say it's just a number and it doesn't hit the fan. In July, my dad suffered a heart attack and had open heart surgery, and then came August, and I discovered a lump on my left breast. I pretty much poo-pooed it and said to CJ, "It's fine, I'm sure it's nothing." He is actually the one who urged me to get it checked out right away to be sure. Of course, I would have procrastinated and put it off because I was going to be fine, just fine. I made my appointment promptly that Monday and had to make sure to tell CJ I was going in and that it would be nothing. After all, I'm just fine. I was going to be just fine. At my appointment, my doctor did an exam, and she said she would like to do an ultrasound and a mammogram. I was in within a couple of days. I was diagnosed August 29th, 2016 with breast cancer. The C word. I couldn't bring myself to say it. For 3 days, I couldn't say it. I let myself say it, finally. Cancer. I have cancer. And then it was real. I wasn't fine. I'm sure I'm relating to anyone diagnosed. The feeling of utter shock and disbelief, wondering if it's real or just a nightmare. After my diagnosis, things moved quickly, along with a few other bumps in the road, which included August 30th being rear-ended on my way to work, which totaled my car. An hour later, I received a call to schedule my first biopsy. The next day, on the 31st, I was going back to work to let my part-time cook know I'd needed him to pick up more hours and to let him know what was going on, only to find a note taped to the door that said he quit. So there I was, cancer, carless, cookless, and 40. I can't make this up. This all really happened. I had my lumpectomy September 12th, 2016. After that were several appointments to discuss my treatment plan. With our daughters only 2 and 4, when I was diagnosed, I was going to do everything possible to prevent cancer from coming back, so I placed myself in my oncologist's hands for the best course of treatment for the best survival prognosis. My treatment plan involved a lumpectomy, chemotherapy, followed by radiation. So here we are. How am I going to handle running a business, having a family, a young family at that, and having cancer? Well, the best way I know how. Put on my big girl pants and deal with it, staying positive and celebrating small victories. I had down days, but during those days, a whole troop of friends and family would come to the rescue. They were and still are the light in my darkness. And maybe it was perfectly fine I had to run our kitchen since I was now the only cook. It gave me a purpose to keep going and no time for pity parties. One of the many appointments was to discuss and learn about the chemo drugs that I'd be receiving and the side effects and how to deal with them. I was devastated when I found out I would lose my hair. Tangled was the latest movie at our house and the girls loved Rapunzel. So I felt maybe I should start prepping them that mommy might not have her hair and that we could be beautiful and bald and still play Rapunzel. That led to a lot of tears. They didn't understand. They just wanted to play with mom's hair, and for Elena, our youngest, mom's hair was and still is a source of comfort, especially at bedtime. A few days before I was to start chemo, knowing I'd be losing my hair, my oncologist gave me a small miracle. She handed CJ and I a pamphlet about cold capping, and it gave us a short introduction about how it can help keep your hair through chemo. I think we were both 100% right away to give it a try. We called the number the next morning and had a kit overnighted. Cold capping, for those not familiar, is a process of freezing gel caps and then wearing them continuously before, during, and after chemo treatments. I was only the second person to try the cold caps at Douglas County Hospital, so everyone there was still new to this process too. 45 minutes prior to my chemo, we'd put on the first cap. Chemo took approximately 2.5 hours, and I'd wear them for 4 hours after, for a total of roughly 7 hours, changing caps every 20 minutes. CJ definitely had his work cut out for him. My first chemo was on our daughter Reagan's 5th birthday, October 10th. Since I had my port placed on the 6th and had UMM homecoming to deal with that weekend and a party planned for Reagan the day before chemo, CJ went to Fargo for dry ice that we needed for the cold caps the Friday before, making sure to get extra just in case. After the birthday party, we figured we should probably try to figure out the cold caps and watch the video that came with the kit. CJ went to the garage to get the caps ready, only to find that dry ice was evaporating more quickly than we anticipated. He didn't know how to tell me my small miracle may not be possible. And our solution? Hey, let's just drive to Fargo before chemo for more dry ice. Brilliant! This is a great plan. We could do this. So here we went. October 10th, road trip to Fargo for dry ice. To Continental Carbonic Products, who were so awesome. They opened at 7 that morning just for us. We loaded up the dry ice and we were back to Alec by 9 to start my first chemo. We had done it. Chemo days were a long process. I was scheduled every 3 weeks for this first 6 rounds, which I referred to them as the nasty 6. Those had the drugs that would pretty much destroy everything, making you sick and cause hair loss. I learned fairly quickly if you experience side effects that you could be prescribed other medications to help or lessen the side effects. Since everyone is different and reacts differently, I didn't know what to expect. However, I was fortunate that those treatments didn't bring me down and cause much sickness for me for more than a couple days, and it was more being tired and just feeling gross. Gaining weight was probably the most difficult to handle, but through the initial 6 treatments, I had kept my hair, so those cold caps worked. I began radiation in Alexandria on February 27th. I went every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, every day until April 7th. That's a lot of driving. I had many friends and family ride along or drive me. It was long and tedious going every day, but it is what I had to do. Looking back on everything we went through, I can say it's amazing how much can happen in a short period of time. At times it feels like a lifetime ago, and yet times it feels like just yesterday. I heard those words that changed my life forever. I am currently cancer-free, and life has returned to the normalcy it was before, and the fears of reoccurrence fade as time passes. For now, I have mostly good days without fears and worries, but when the bad days and fears show up, I still have an amazing support from family, friends, and our community, to whom all I'd like to say thanks. To our Lord above, thank you for faith and the blessing of family and friends, for walking with all of us and carrying us when we needed you to. To CJ, my parents, my in-laws, family, and friends, thank you for always being there and continuing to be there to pick up the pieces when I fall apart. To Reagan and Elena, thank you for always being my sunshine and my reason. Mommy loves you too very much. To our community, your generosity and support is still in our minds and in our hearts. Thank you. And lastly, thank you to the American Cancer Society Relay for Life for giving everyone an opportunity to celebrate, remember, and fight as we make a difference in the battle against cancer. Thank you.
Thank you, Stacy.